I hope you sing We Three Kings this week in church because that's the best hymn that's ever been written. Hello, my friends. Welcome to Rooted, a place where we take biblical insights and apply them to leadership. It is the Feast of the Epiphany, that day that, in a way, starts to really close out the Christmas season as we celebrate the three Magi, the three wise men, the three kings coming to meet Jesus. And this week, I'm going to give you a short reflection, but hopefully it gives you something to chew on, because this week we need to look at the gospel reading and ask ourselves if we are one of the Magi or we are King Herod. That's not a fun place to be, but let's get into it. In the reading this week, King Herod realizes that there is a star that indicates something big is happening. Something has changed in the heavens, and this foretells big movements in the world. Herod consults some people, and they tell him that there's going to be a king who's born in Bethlehem, and he is going to be a ruler. And this bothers Herod because it threatens his power and authority. So he summons these Magi and asks them to go and find this child, this new ruler, and to tell him where the ruler is so he can go pay him homage. Now, ultimately, he does not have any desire to do that. He wants to kill the newborn child who's going to take his place because he's hungry for power. As a leader, how are you empowering the people around you, and how are you sharing authority? Now, I'm sure you're not looking to find anybody who's got the up-and-coming skill set who might take your place so you can go and do something nefarious to them. Hopefully nothing illegal, but maybe you try to work them out of a job. Maybe you try to hold them out of meetings where they might have good ideas. Maybe you try to find ways to make work really not super fun for that person so that they leave. If any of these things sound crazy, yeah, they are crazy, but they happen. Perhaps you've been in a role where you've experienced some of these things. You feel like the person above you is trying to edge you out because they're nervous about how you might take some jobs away from them, some responsibilities away from them, how you might even one day replace them. We've had these things happen to us, but we're also capable of doing the exact same things. As a leader, we have to accept a very key principle, which is we will not be around forever. We're not going to be around forever. At some point, somebody is going to take our job. And here's the next thing we've got to get comfortable with. They might be better at it. If we have done a good job of empowering the people around us and sharing our knowledge freely and mentoring people on our team, they should do a better job than we've done. I think the mark of a great leader is a person who's able to leave a role and see the person who comes in next be even more successful than they were. Now, of course, this is easy if maybe you've left things in absolute dumpster fire and the person who comes in after you has to clean them up and does a better job. If you're leaving things a dumpster fire right now, you've got a whole other set of issues that we've got to work through. I'm talking about if you're doing a good job, you're leading your team well, you're experiencing success. Sometimes it can be tempting to hold on to that role because we start to find our identity in it. We start to find our joy in it. We start to wrap ourselves up in who we are in a particular role as a leader. And this can especially happen if we work at a place with a good mission, like a church or a nonprofit, and we don't want to let that go. Sometimes we work in a place, again, churches and nonprofits are really notorious for this, where there's not a career progression. We don't know what the next step is, and so the idea of somebody coming in and potentially taking our job or taking over leaves us with this question, well, where am I going to go? And that's where we have to be careful that we don't become the Herod in the story. God wants to raise up other people around you to one day take your job. Not because God doesn't like you and wants to replace you, but God has other plans for you. God maybe doesn't want you to stay in the particular role that you're in forever. There might be a new adventure, or a new place, or a new area that God is calling you to serve. But if we hang on to this role so tightly, we can risk becoming the Herod that keeps other people out, that maybe on our worst day, even is working against those people to do them a particular professional harm. Don't hold on so tightly to the role you have. There's a humility in leadership where we have to recognize that one day, you and I, we won't be in the roles that we are in anymore. And somebody else might come into that role and do a better job and receive a lot more praise and a lot more affirmation. This past week, I was listening to a podcast, and John Maxwell, who's a wonderful business leader, he's in his late 70s now, he's still so sharp and really intelligent, was talking about how he wants to be a pioneer. and he doesn't need to be the best at his role. In fact, he doesn't want to be the best. He just kind of wants to be the first. He wants to be the person who opens up the pathway so people can come from behind him and go further and do better and be more successful. I think there's something really profound there in our leadership. Maybe sometimes it's about being the first. It's about being the person to break new ground and put forward new ideas and be the pioneer so that somebody else can come from behind and be more successful. Be the one who's remembered. Be the one who gets the affirmation and the praise, where we can have the satisfaction of knowing that we opened up the door. So as you move forward as a leader, I want you to be the Magi. Recognize the new authority as you go to find it, give it respect, pay it its due, and clear the way so that those people can go further faster. And then don't be like Herod, where we're trying to destroy people around us because we want to hold on to our power and our authority so tightly. That is the Epiphany of the Lord. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you back here next week as we dive more into these readings for biblical insights on how we can lead today.